I ranked every single crop in Stardew Valley from best to worst. Oh yeah, and read this, I guess. The worst crop in the game, in my opinion, is the red cabbage. If you've ever tried to complete the community center, and if you've played Stardew Valley, then you've definitely tried to do that. You'll already know about the red cabbage seed. Now, if you're just doing a casual playthrough, it's not really that much of a problem, but if you're trying to set yourself not even that hard of a challenge, year 1 community center completion, you know how much this crop sucks. This is almost certainly the last item you personally needed in your own community center, and in year 1, there's only 2 ways to get it. Both of them are very RNG dependent. You can get them in the traveling cart, which is literally gambling. Although if you are on PC, you can use a seed tracking website to see if it pops up. Not an option if you're on console, unfortunately. And if you don't want to just literally gamble, too bad, because the only other way is to kill serpents in this cavern for a 0.2% chance for them to drop it. My own personal experience with the red cabbage seed was nothing short of a living nightmare. A little dramatic, I know, but trust me, it was like pretty bad, I guess. I checked my seed and I knew I wasn't going to be getting one in the cart, meaning my only option was to kill serpents, gamble, until it dropped. And honestly, you know, it didn't even take that long. It dropped after a couple of hours of grinding on stream, and that was with me also just like playing the game normally, not just killing serpents the whole time. So I planted it and forgot about it. Now, you see anything wrong with this image? Probably not, because I didn't at the time, but to the keen-eyed among us, you might notice that the seed is slightly out of the range of the scarecrow I have down. Now, exactly what you're thinking might have happened. Where the heck did I put my red cabbage seed? And the worst part is that I didn't even notice it happened. It took me like a week to realize in game, but like still embarrassing, man, okay? So I had to do a whole investigation on stream to find out what happened. So, yeah, that's a long-winded way of me saying the red cabbage is the worst crop in the game. Number 37, unmilled rice. Okay. Let me spin a little tale for you. Someone hops out of bed on their farm around, 6 a.m., does a couple of morning chores, then heads over for Pierre's and buys a bunch of rice shoots. Just kidding, that has literally never happened in the millions of hours that have been played in Stardew Valley. The only reason that people give this crop the time of day is because if you plant it next to a water source, you don't have to water it, and random mobs and crates in the mines drop it, so you don't have to buy it. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, it's called unmilled rice, Waligug. Maybe if you mill it up, it'll be useful. Wrong. You can buy rice from Pierre for 200 gold each, and to even just convert the rice shoots into rice, you need to buy a stupid machine that takes up a bunch of space and looks really ugly on your farm. I'm a really big mill hater. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of it, okay? Not that ugly. It's like kind of ugly, I guess. Next up, in 36, we have grape. Did you even know grapes were a crop? Like, did you know you could plant them? Yeah, I didn't think so. I rest my case. Okay, I'm combining the 35 entry with 4 different things. The fairy rose, the tulip, the poppy, and the blue jazz. Now, these 4 flowers all have something in common. They're really annoying to store in chests, because if you have different colors of the flowers and different qualities, multiply those together, you have so many different stacks of flowers, it is so freaking annoying to store them. Now, some of them do have some decent uses. If you remix the bundles in the CC, there's a couple of donations, and the fairy rose has a decent use. It lets you instantly finish artisan goods, but the storing of them doesn't make it worth it, man. I'm sorry. Number 34, we have the Summer Spangle. These aren't annoying to store, but they're basically the same, so we're putting them one above. However, they are a community center item, which is kind of annoying to get, and the Summer Spangles are, I think, a forageable too, so they're kind of annoying to find if you don't plant them, because they only come in year 2. So kind of annoying for year 1 CC. 34 though. Number 33, we have Kale. You can use this for farming XP in spring, but I don't think the average Stardew Valley player is going to be doing that, so they're ranked pretty low, and they aren't that profitable. They don't look that cool. I guess they're kind of satisfying to harvest if you like use a scythe, but I don't know. I feel like you're only going to be planting them early game, and so satisfaction of harvesting shouldn't really play that much of a role in the factor. This is my opinion though. Number 32, we have taro root. These are basically just rice shoots. However, you can trade them at the island trader for, wow, a luau skirt and a tropical TV. Incredible. I'm just kidding. You can trade them for warp totems to the farm, which are actually pretty useful. And since they're like rice shoots, you don't have to water them. You can just plant them next to the river on Ginger Island. Kind of just let them do their own things. They're also similar to rice shoots in another way. You can just kill monsters and they'll drop there. Number 31, we have the bok choy. I only remember this crop existed when I was making this video, man. But it's kind of cool name, so it's a little bit higher up. You can also make a solid soup IRL with it. Number 30, radish. I don't think I've ever planted this crop. They just kind of exist, I guess. Don't really have a strong opinion about them. They just kind of also just exist here on this list. No hate for them. Radishes are fine, I guess. 29, we have the artichoke. They have a funny name and look kind of cool. Maybe they're good for money. I don't know, really. Never really planted them. Once again, they're just kind of here on this list. Number 28, we have the yam. I think they're like used in a quest or something. I don't really remember. Once again, I've literally never touched this crop. 27, we have the rhubarb. Okay, I'm just now realizing as I'm writing the script how many crops there are in Stardew Valley that I've literally never planted. Okay, well, I probably planted them once since I do have the quest that requires you to sell 15 of each crop, but like I've never like planted them consciously, you know, like I never wanted to plant them. I just planted them for the quest. 26, sunflower. Is there actually a reason to shop at Joja Mart? Sorry, my bad. I was just quoting my favorite Shawnee Do line. So yeah, sunflowers are cheaper at Joja Mart. Does that really affect my ranking that much? No. Did I mention it just so I could call back to that Shawnee Do video? Yes. Sunflowers are kind of cool in the part that were like, if you harvest one, they give you seeds. So it's like exponential growth in the amount of sunflowers you can plant. Yay, you can plant more of a crop. That's pretty useless. Wow, that's so cool. 25, tomatoes. I freaking love tomatoes IRL, but I've never planted them in game. So I guess I just place them above other crops just because of my IRL love for them. I have planted tomatoes IRL, funnily enough, though. But yeah, shout out to my other tomato lovers. You guys are the realest, I guess. 24, we got the hot pepper. I'm putting these slightly higher up because they make like decent money. And they're used in chain marriage speedruns, which I know is kind of niche. But it's one of those few things I know they can be used for. And they regrow, which is kind of nice. I'm a big fan of regrowing crops. 23, we have the green bean. I think in most of my Stardew Valley farms, I plant green beans once at the very start of the game. Just like community center. Maybe, you know, I'll buy a little row of them. Because, you know, they do look pretty nice. And they regrow, so they normally make their money back. And then some. But I don't think I've ever planted a green bean past spring year 1. Trellis crops are also just kind of annoying because you have to make like a relatively ugly looking thing. Unless you like torch it up and get some paths down. But that's way too much work for a guy like me. 22, we got corn. Okay, guys, this is a pretty hot take. I might get some backlash for this, considering the recent blow up of like this audio clip of this like kid talking about corn. But I freaking hate corn. They're probably like an okay crop. However, I kind of just have this deep-seated hatred for it because it grows through summer and fall. So I'd plant it like at the start of summer or like the end of summer, and during summer I'd be like, wow, I planted this so poorly, they're so ugly, I should just break them. Then I'm thinking, well, no, it's almost fall, so they'll just die anyways. But then I would just end up with random ugly sunflowers everywhere in fall because they didn't die, man. Then I broke them, and it's like, it's not really that big of a deal, I guess, but I don't know, I don't like them, okay? Like, even if they made me 1 billion gold a day, I still wouldn't plant them just because of that, like, not even an inconvenience. Yeah, no, that mild inconvenience they cause them, I would never plant them ever. Number 21, we got the eggplant. Guys, it looks kind of like a you know what. 20, amaranth. Amaranth is once again a crop I've literally never planted except for one reason. That one like quest that Marnie gives us where like her cows want amaranth or something. The only reason it's not lower on this list because like, I don't know, it's a quest, I guess, like, you know. I mean, I guess it looks kind of cool. I like the color purple. Shout out purple. It's kind of all my logic, really. And for number 19, we have garlic. Garlic is one of those crops that you can pretty much never plant except like once for a quest. The quest is pretty nice since it gets you a bunch of golden walnuts, so it's not that low on the list, but not super high either since I think you need a couple of other crops. I believe you need wheat and melons, so, you know, it's not all garlic, you know, a couple other crops are contributing. For 18, we have the beets showing up. I put beets relatively high on this list because, well, I normally don't really plant it for money, you know, whatever. It's used to unlock the casino, which has gambling, and I love gambling, and I'm sure it probably has decent profit margins and whatnot. Yo, sorry, since we're halfway there, I'm just gonna cut in real quick. You should go subscribe to my second channel. The channel is right on screen. It's gonna be the top link in the description. I'm gonna be streaming there a bunch, so you should definitely turn on notifications as well. Thank you, back to the video. Number 17, we have the key fruit. The key fruit is super niche and is literally only available to plant when you have a very specific quest active. However, completing that quest gives you lots of gems, and I think gems, like, you know, they're really useful since you can buy lots of things at Mr. Cheese store, like the Junimo chest, which is similar to Ender chests, and horse flutes, which are probably one of my favorite items in the games, not even just from Mr. Key Eye's shop. You can just summon your horse from literally anywhere with just one right click. Pressure nozzles, which make iridium sprinklers even more overpowered, and you can also create these very cursed things, as well as probably the best thing out of all of the things, the key to the town, which means you can go into stores early. And some NPCs are already at their counters before they even open, so they don't open for whatever reason, which is really weird. So, you know, that's why I put it kind of high up, since sure, you can only plant them for 1 month and the quest is really hard, but there's just so many things you can get with it, and it gives you 100 gems, which is a ton. At 16, we have the parsnip. Parsnip. Parsnip is this high up because, you know, even though it's a trash crop, it's like the OG crop. It's probably the very first crop you planted, or maybe not even planted, but it's the very first crop you got for sure. You know, 15 of these bad boys get you up to farming level 1. That's pretty nice. And I mean, I guess some people do sell the parsnip to the store to buy more potatoes so they don't have to water as much, but it's just such an OG crop and very recognizable. I think it would be criminal to put it any lower on this list. Number 15, we got the tea leaves. Tea leaves are this high up not for the reason you might think. Green tea is not a very good money-making method. I've personally never done it, and the actual tea sapling looks super ugly on your farm. Well, I used to have a friend that I played with that would plant these obsessively all over the farm, even though they looked awful and I couldn't stand to see them. But if you craft the saplings, don't actually plant them and just sell them. They make like really good money early game. There's a video on it by Wickedy, which is pretty good. You know, I've never done the method myself, but I trust Wickedy and I watched the video. It seemed legit. I don't think she's like scamming the community. I don't even know what I'm saying, honestly. Why would I even accuse Wickedy of that? I don't think she'd do that. What am I saying? Number 14, I'm putting wheat. I'm putting wheat up here purely because, well, you know, it's useful in its actual wheat form. You can also just chuck it into a keg and have beer, and you know, sure, beer's not the best artisan good, but it's easy to get lots of, so if you have lots of kegs, you can make so much beer, and it's very cheap to buy. It's only 10 gold per. You can use it to make sure like your hoed tiles don't get untilled when the season changes from summer to fall, but you can save you lots of time on your first planting day at the start of the season. So overall, a pretty convenient crop, lots of usability in different ways, not necessarily the ways you might think. Number 13, we have the sweet gem berry. Now I hit on this crop very often for a couple of reasons. You have to turn a lot of your actual harvest back into seeds, meaning that you're going to be losing like 50 to 60% of the crops. That's just a rough number. I don't know if it's actually that much of your crops per harvest. So with that being said, it's a lot of work because you have to buy enough seeds from the traveling cart, then build it up enough so you're actually planting enough to make a solid amount of money. They take ages to grow. Then after that, you need to replant them, which is, I don't know, I just don't like replanting crops in general. I like regrowing crops, like I said earlier. So overall, I just don't think they're that good. However, I am putting them kind of high up here because it's pretty much just a free star drop, and that's really strong because more energy is always nice. Number 12, we have the potato. This crop, for a lot of people, is what initially launches their journey into Stardew Valley. It's all around just a solid crop when you buy it. It's only 50 gold per, and you can get 10 at the start, which is a good amount of money to start you off with. It'll give you like 2k after you harvest. And one thing I really love about potatoes is that when you do harvest them, you have a chance to get extra copies. Like let's say you buy 10 seeds, you can get 11 potatoes, 12 potatoes, even 13 potatoes, maybe even more if you're lucky. And that's not even including, they could be quality potatoes, even better. Or if I forget to buy strawberries in the second year, I just plant potatoes since, you know, they still do decent amount of money, and you know, it's kind of nice to have them down. You're nostalgic, you know. Coming in at number 11, we got cauliflower. I don't normally plant too many cauliflowers year one, just one for the community center, but when you're in year 2 and if I have plenty of kegs and jars, we'll plant a decent amount of cauliflower as soon as I do have the aforementioned kegs and jars, because they do make pretty solid money as jam and wine. I consider cauliflower equivalent to like melon and pumpkin, so it's a pretty solid crop even if I don't plant them for myself too often, mainly just year 2. Breaking into the top 10, we have pineapple. I consider pineapple to basically just be a worse ancient fruit. It's kind of annoying to get, but nowhere near as annoying as ancient fruit. I normally just get a bunch if I kill the monsters in the volcano, and then from there I can just keep making them up with the seed makers, and they're infinitely regrowable. I mean, if I plant a bunch on the island, I can get pineapple for like the rest of my life, assuming I don't like break them or whatever. And you know, they do turn into a pretty valuable wine as well as a pretty valuable jam. Solid crop, even though it is kind of end game and you might already have ancient fruit by the time you get to it. A little bit past number 10, we have cranberries coming up in the 9th slot. I have a few things to say about cranberries. Yes, I'm putting them below pumpkins, since if you have jars, pumpkins are way better. However, if you're, I don't know, you know, you're in fall year 1 and you haven't really set up your jar empire yet, they are a pretty nice buy since they have solid margins if you don't artisan good them, and I consider them pretty much equivalent to blueberries. Blueberries are going to be the next because, like, I don't know, I think they're like roughly the same as blueberries, but you know, blueberries are a little bit more iconic thanks to Havu. And wow, just like I said, at number 8, we have blueberries. And pretty much the same thing to say about blueberries as cranberries. Worse than melons, still pretty good if you don't artisan good them. You know, they just look cooler and like, I don't know, They taste better IRL. Number 7, we have strawberry, the classic spring crop you always buy in year 1 spring. They make great money. You can just jar them, you can save a bunch in the seed maker for next year, and just kind of one of the most iconic crops besides like potatoes. All around, just a solid crop. Number 6, this might be a little bit of a hot take, I have the hop. Amazing year 1 summer energy. Basically just let me do things in summer year 1. This is when I actually don't have to start worrying about energy, and I have to start worrying about how much time I have in the day, which is just, I don't know, a lot more fun in my opinion. Also, it's used for a quest with Pam, so I don't know, I get a little bit of money out of him too. And now we are in the top 5. Coming in at number 5, we have the pumpkin. Really good for money. I just pretty much always plant them and jar them since they're pretty much the best fall crop. Yes, I'm saying, no, I'm saying it. They're the best fall crop. Use them in tons of challenge runs, which, you know, that's like the optimal way to make money. They're like normally an okay indicator if it's a good money making method, or some of them are a little bit too try hardy. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't really recommend like step counting or like finding individual tiles where you get like gold crops. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. You probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, pumpkin good. And now, number 4, we have the pumpkin again. I mean melons. They're pretty much the same as pumpkins, just like, I know, I put them above because like, you know, summer's before fall and melons look cooler or something. I don't know. And now, breaking into the top 3, we have the coffee bean. So we all know the best thing in Stardew Valley is speed, and it's not even close, by the way. So if you're endgame, you know, you don't have a spicy eel or a triple shot espresso or both popped at all times, what are you doing, man? Some of you might disagree with this, but it's just that easy. Counterpoint, double speed with a horse. It's just so nice. You go so fast. You can get everywhere you want. It's great in the mines, great in Skull Cavern. It's great general quality of life, and that is why it is definitively top 3. You know, I might take a little bit of criticism on the rest of my list. Coffee bean, don't touch it, guys. Okay. Don't touch it. Number 2, we got star fruit. Star fruit are just like, I don't know, slightly worse ancient fruit. Wow, spoilers. I wonder where ancient fruit is going to be on this list. Because you have to replant them and buy them, which is like, I don't know, it reduces the margins a little, but ignoring that, ancient fruit is just kind of better. Even if it is slightly more annoying to find, just replanting star fruit and having to buy it is just so annoying. I do plant it sometimes if I haven't found an ancient fruit, but once I get ancient fruit, I always get that going way more than star fruit. You know, sometimes I plant it also just if I want to see like a big number on the sell screen, since it is the most expensive wine you can make. And now, number 1, you guys probably saw this coming, ancient fruit. It's pretty much just the best crop for casual players, probably even pro players if you're doing a longer money run. It's like, what even is there to say about ancient fruit? Like, you can use it for wine, use it for jam. It's way more convenient than star fruit, like I said. And while it can be kind of annoying to get the first seed, if you're really struggling, you can just go to the mines and like murder bugs when you're endgame. You can get one like super quickly. Like, you might even get more than one. Like, I went there and farmed for a while, and my burglar's ring procced, and I got 2. And once you have one, you can just plant it and start using a seed maker, and you have infinite. And sure, it can be kind of annoying to replant it every winter, but that's still less work than other crops and only grow for like 1 or 2 seasons. I'm looking to use starfruit, man, okay? If you're ever curious what would happen if you were to stay on the farm for 100 days, go watch this video on screen now. You will enjoy it.